Now, 10 township schools are set to be honoured for their remarkable dedication to water conservation, aiming to save an estimated 10 million litres of water. Now, this initiative is targeted at schools within KwaMakhuta, Ezimbokodweni, Isipingo and Umlazi areas. The awards will acknowledge schools showcasing outstanding efforts in preserving our vital water resources. The nominees have demonstrated relentless commitment by addressing water leaks, implementing innovative solutions and educating students on the significance of water conservation. Our reporter Vusi Khumalo is on the story and joins us now with the very latest. Vusi, what a commendable effort, in fact, just to honour some of these schools that are conserving water. Tell us more about this.
Yes, good morning. Yes, indeed. We are here in Umlazi, south of Durban. We are with a company called the Triple P. That is actually honoring and also recognizing schools around Durban, schools that have worked tirelessly in order to ensure that they do conserve water. As you know, that South Africa is a water scarce country, ranked amongst top 40 of those driest countries in the world. So I am with the managing director of Triple P that has been working with many of these schools around here in Durban in order to ensure that schools are being, school learners are also being inculcated this culture of water conservation. With that, let me welcome the managing director and just to tell us about the main purpose of initiating these projects with these schools, such a big project which has got good intentions.
So we've worked with a lot of schools as an organization, and we noticed a pattern in schools where there's always water leaks, the toilets are leaking, and you could just imagine how much water is wasted on a daily basis, and we're talking about potable water. And that concerned us because we know that 37% of our potable water is lost through water leaks. So we thought, well, we needed to address this issue as a matter of urgency. And we opted to improve the water infrastructure because most of the schools, the water infrastructure is old. It's not properly maintained. So of course, it doesn't have longevity. And we started this project last year with 17 schools where we saved close to 14 million litres of water, which also indicated to us that on average a single school loses 800,000 litres of water annually through water leaks. So we really needed to do something drastic and not just patch or fix a leaking tap, but to actually improve the whole infrastructure to make sure that it functions properly.
And also, why targeting schools? We can also see the primary schools are also here as well.
Well, it's important. These are future leaders, and we don't want them to think that wasting water is a norm. It's not a norm. It's not acceptable. We want them to also respect the value of water. We also want them to understand that water is life. And that we as a country are actually at risk of water shortage. Research shows us that if we don't turn things around or change the way we use water, we're going to run into water deficit by 2030, which is concerning.
Yes, after having worked with them for about 12 months, what are some of the self-sustainable projects or programs that they are running with, especially after having worked with them for about a period of 12 months?
So we did quite an intensive education and awareness training with the learners, both theory and practical. We saw today they shared some of the work that the things that they've learned. So we want them to carry that knowledge forward, share it with their fellow learners, share it in their communities, take it back home and spread the message that we are in crisis. In water crisis, and we need to do something to turn things around. We've also worked with the school caretakers, where plumbers have transferred some of their skills to them. So this will help the schools because then they'll have someone who's maintaining the infrastructure more frequently. And we're also working on putting together a infrastructure monitoring and maintenance plan for the schools, because none of the schools have the maintenance plan. So how do you then make sure that your infrastructure is in good working condition if you're not even monitoring it, nor maintaining it? So those are some of the sustainability plans that we have in place to make sure that as we move forward to helping more schools, we have left the schools with some resources and knowledge that will help them to continue to strive in managing their water infrastructure properly.
And perhaps just in closing, just tell us about the categories that they were presented with. Especially, I also saw there are some awards that were allocated to these schools that were doing well. Some of those categories.
Yes, so we wanted to recognize some of the efforts that schools did even before the project started. So some schools, they have water tanks in their schools. So we recognize them as part of the being water-wise. That's sort of like they have a backup system. We know that Umlazi has been affected by water rationing, so they have water cuts more often. They have very low water pressure system. So it's important for schools to have such backup because then it doesn't disrupt learning in the school. We also recognized, we've been to a lot of the schools where the ablution facilities are in very poor hygiene. And we recognize the schools that have the most hygienic ablution facilities because that's also really important for to ensure learners' safety and that they learn in a very healthy environment. So that school was awarded the WASH award, which stands for Water, Sanitation and Hygiene.
Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't know if Babu Japan Matebula can just pan just slowly on his left so that you can see just a small number of learners who were here, as well as the teachers coming from schools around Durban. There are schools from Isipingo, KwaMakhuta, as well as Umlazi, where we are here today just to get those awards for their tireless effort in ensuring that they do conserve water and also preserve this precious resource called water. South Africa is a water scarce country. So these are some of the efforts being done by the NGOs to ensure that schools do take part in water preservation projects. As you heard that a number of projects that are also lined up apart from these 10 to 15 schools that are involved there. So this company says that will also be ensuring that they do replicate these projects in other areas as well apart from Durban.